Hi, my name's Jeremy Altman, and I want to thank you for watching this video. Maybe we're connected on LinkedIn, or you saw one of my videos, or you were referred to me by one of my clients. But any way you got here, I'm excited you're watching this video. And I applaud you, right? Most people wouldn't take the time to check out an informational video like this, and you have. So I want to be able to deliver for you, and I think that you're in for a treat. My goal in this video is to help change the way you look at the process of acquiring a job. I want to inspire you to think big when it comes to what is possible for you and how good of a candidate you can be. I want to give you the three biggest things, or secrets, I should say, that have contributed to the massive success of the people I've worked with. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you my screen and go through the three secrets to landing your dream job. Please get a piece of paper and pen and be ready to sit back for 15 or 20 minutes and really absorb what I've got to tell you. I'll see you in a moment. Take care. So what will you learn in this presentation? You're going to learn how clarity is the biggest difference between those that drift through their careers and those that are the captains of their career. You'll learn the keys to making killer professional marketing material, the resume and LinkedIn page, material that will stand out to recruiters and hiring authorities. You will learn networking and outreach tactics that are imperative in the job acquisition process. You'll learn how to start conversations that will lead to some amazing job opportunities. And you'll learn a few of my best strategies on nailing every interview. I'm excited to share this stuff with you, and I know that if you are actively in the job market or going to be in the next 90 days, you will greatly benefit from investing your time to watching this presentation. So first and foremost, what is the biggest issue for job seekers? The biggest issue is that most people have never learned each part of the job acquisition process. You're probably great at what you do, and I'm sure that you have a ton to offer the right company, but that doesn't mean you're great at the job acquisition process. I always say that the job acquisition process is like a well-oiled machine, but if one of the parts of the machine is broken, one of the cogs, the whole machine can stop working. Here are some of the things that I've heard from job seekers, and maybe you can relate. I don't really know exactly what I'm looking for in my next job. I have a tough time articulating the value that I bring to a company. My resume just isn't working. I rarely, if ever, use LinkedIn and certainly don't use it effectively. I hate networking and feel like I'm imposing when I reach out to people. I can't seem to find good opportunities that fit my background. I have anxiety with interviewing, and sometimes I can just freeze up. I think I'm doing great in the interviews, but I can't seem to get that offer. If any of these resonate with you, then you're in the right place. But before you're ready to accept the information I'm sharing, I'm sure you're going to want to make sure that I'm qualified as a true expert in job acquisition. So very quickly, let me give you my backstory for context. 11 years ago, I started an executive recruiting firm, and since that time, I've worked with thousands of candidates strengthening all of their job acquisition processes. During that time, I also worked with hundreds of hiring managers, really diving into what makes a strong candidate and what doesn't, and why some people get hired and others don't. It became very obvious why certain people were landing multiple job offers at great companies, and other people couldn't even hear back when they submitted a resume. I brought this information to my candidates, and I was able to successfully help them strengthen their processes. But since I was an executive recruiter and only got paid if they landed the job that I was offering, I felt there was a conflict of interest. I couldn't genuinely help them land the best possible job if it wasn't the job that would get me paid. So that's why I started the consulting side of my company. This was the way for me to truly help candidates become the best possible job seekers they could be without trying to push them toward any one specific job. Finally, I could help people with no restrictions. So I closed up my recruiting firm And since going full-time with this consulting, I've been able to really focus on each individual step of the job acquisition process and come up with a complete system to make you stand out from the others and be the best candidate you can be. I'm so excited to be on this journey, and it's awesome to see the results of my clients. So let's get into the core of this presentation. Let me start by telling you the one big thing: clarity. There are two types of job seekers out there. There are drifters who often drift through their career. They can be successful, but often aren't exactly sure what they want next or how to go about getting there. And then there are those that are the captains of their career. These people know exactly what they want and the steps they need to take to get to that next level. They have more control in the job acquisition process, and this confidence is readily apparent. Clarity is the difference. Now, this isn't as tactical as the rest of the presentation, but it is so important for you to understand that you need to be clear, right? Clear on your value, clear on the role you want, clear on how to make great professional marketing material, clear on how to best network and seek out opportunities, and clear on how to nail that interview. My entire philosophy is built upon the idea that as you become more clear on what you're looking for, what you have to offer, and how to present yourself, you will become an amazing candidate. So let's dive into secret number one. It focuses on how to create incredible professional marketing material. You must view your professional marketing material from the perspective of a recruiter or a hiring manager. This marketing material is namely your resume and LinkedIn profile page. Those that are looking at those marketing pieces don't care if your marketing material is pretty. Your audience only wants to see your value in as short a time as possible. Why? Because they're all dealing with the same thing: information overload. Your professional marketing material needs to be very easy to follow, and your specific value needs to jump off that page in the first 10 to 15 seconds of a read. It's just the harsh reality that people need to make quick judgments these days. Just imagine the HR manager who has 30 resumes to sift through, or the recruiter going through 50 LinkedIn profiles in an hour. You, yes, you have a very small window to make a very strong impression. And the way you do that is by clearly and concisely articulating your value. And here's how you do that. You focus on three core components that are going to be at the head of your marketing material, namely your executive summary, your core competencies or areas of expertise, and your major accomplishments section. This is the why you. That first half of your first page of your resume and that summary section on your LinkedIn profile page needs to have a very easy to read, power-packed summary of the value that you offer. Also, the list of core competencies and areas of expertise that make you a strong candidate, as well as a few measurable achievements that show that you've been there and done that and killed it. Everything else supports this value. So this is what that looks like. Let's go to an example. Here's a resume that we use. And as I said, you take a look, and the professional summary section is that value component, the why you to an employer. Then you list off your areas of expertise to really show them exactly your strength. And then you go into your key achievements that are those measurable components showing why you. Now, the rest of the resume, the other page and a half, that just supports the value at the top. But that first half of that first page is what's so important. I can tell you, as someone who personally recruited and went through thousands of resumes and tens of thousands of LinkedIn profiles over his career, and as someone who spoke with hundreds of hiring authorities about what they look for, this type of professional marketing material will stand out and land you interviews. And at the end of the day, the resume and LinkedIn page can only get you the interview. They won't land you the job. It's only one step in the process. Now, of course, having an easy to use template and knowing what to put in these sections to best represent your value, well, that's where the magic happens. And this is one of the ways that I help my clients. Because remember, if one part of the machine is broken, the whole machine can break down. So let's move on to secret 2 about networking and getting more interviews. The best jobs are created through networking. Now, this is really no secret, but some of the strategies that I'm going to share with you are secrets. Networking must be an ongoing process throughout your entire career. But the reality is that it is never more important than when you're in a job search. I could talk about networking for hours, but for now, I just want to share with you 2 strategies that you can use immediately that will dramatically increase your ability to uncover great opportunities. First, backdooring the resume. This is the process of applying for an open role and then finding the key decision makers on LinkedIn, on their website, or even by phone to personally message them. The reason you do this is obvious. You want to get in front of them and make sure that they know who you are. But also remember, more and more companies are using those applicant tracking systems to screen out candidates before hiring decision makers even set eyes on your resume. This is a way to get yourself seen without having to rely on getting past those applicant tracking systems. This is how you get out of what I call the resume black hole, right? Where you just submit that resume and you have no idea if anyone has ever read it. This stuff works. The second strategy is called uncovering the hidden job market. This is the process by which you identify companies that you would like to work for and reach out to those hiring decision makers on LinkedIn to hopefully initiate dialogue. If your value on your LinkedIn page jumps through that screen, let me repeat this, if your value jumps off your LinkedIn page, guess what? Great managers will want to talk, regardless if they have an immediate opening or not. Great companies are always looking for great people. You would be amazed at how many conversations my clients have set up that ultimately led to interviews and then hiring for a role that wasn't even actively on the job boards yet. But if you're going to implement these strategies, which I definitely suggest, then you need to keep 2 things in mind. First, you have to realize that both of the strategies really focus in on LinkedIn. And before people do anything, they're going to check out your profile. So your value, again, better jump off that page in order to make a first great impression. Secondly, you need to be very smart with how you word your outreach, because it's very easy to come off too strong or overbearing. Instead of then helping yourself, these messages can really hurt your chances of uncovering opportunities and landing interviews. And as I said before, remember, if one part of the machine is broken, the whole machine can break down. With my clients, I first help them create a value-driven LinkedIn profile page. And then I actually help them script the exact wording based on what has worked with my clients in the past. This outcome has been extremely effective, and the outreach is phenomenal. So that is how we're going to network and get more interviews, right? Those are 2 of my several strategies that I utilize with my clients. And all this information is great stuff and will ultimately get you more interviews, but none of it matters if you can't nail the interview. So secret 3. Now, before I get into secret 3 on how to nail the interview, let's broadly discuss interviewing. There are 2 types of interviewees who have trouble in the interviewing process. Those that are overcome with anxiety and break down when it comes to interviewing. They feel like the interview is an interrogation, and they get very flustered at selling themselves as the best possible solution for a company. And then there are those that are just too confident. They think that they nail every single interview and are shocked when they don't land a job. I have a ton of different strategies and tactics when it comes to interviewing, but I want to share 2 of my most important ones here. First, you must turn the interview into a conversation. Most inexperienced interviewees get very nervous and anxious prior to interviewing. Usually this centers around the thought of not being able to share your value when asked. They think of the interview as an interrogation where they're constantly tense while sharing their value. Great interviewees understand that the interview is a two-way conversation where you're learning more about the company as the company is learning more about you. Remember, you have a decision in this process too. Maybe at the end of the interview, you decide that this isn't the right company for you. You have to be prepared with great questions, those that are uncovering the needs of the company and those that further qualify the opportunity to make sure it's the right opportunity for you. I always equate this to two strangers meeting at a restaurant while having dinner. You go to the restaurant, you go get a bite to eat, you meet someone at the other end of the bar getting a bite to eat also. You strike up a conversation to learn more about each other. You ask questions and answer questions in a very normal and informal manner. And by the end of dinner, you realize that you have quite a bit in common and even decide to play golf together sometime soon. But there's no stress or anxiety. It is very conversational. And this is what an interview should be also. Companies want people who are curious and inquisitive. You must be seen as a problem solver, right? They have a problem or a need that needs fixing, or they wouldn't have this open opportunity for you. For you to position yourself properly there, you therefore must ask questions to learn more. They will absolutely appreciate your insightful questions. So let me give you a simple three-step process for answering interview questions that I give to my clients. Answer, ask, learn. Answer, ask, learn. Answer, ask, learn. Answer the interviewer's question in a way that provides value and clearly gives them an answer. Ask a very relevant question off of their question or an answer or off of the answer that you gave. And then listen to the answer that he gives or she gives and learn. With this type of tactic, you will turn any interview into a conversation. It's just a conversation. So let's do a few simple examples. First and foremost, someone asked me, Jeremy, what are your three strongest traits? Well, first and foremost, Joe, I'm a problem solver. I enjoy really getting into the meat of a problem and really learning what the difficulties are. Because before I can actually solve a problem, I have to be able to diagnose the problem. And the only way I can diagnose the problem is to be able to ask questions. Number two, I'm a wonderful collaborator. I really like the team orientation, right? I fully believe that the sum is greater than the parts, right? And three, I'm very detail driven. And I think that you're going to find that that's a very strong focus of what I bring to the table so that nothing gets left unturned. But let me ask you, Joe, what are the greatest traits or what are the traits that you're looking for from someone that's going to succeed in this role? Right? So here you are, you're giving your answer, but then you're going right back and asking what he or she is looking for. Because it might not be your trait. They might come back with two or three other thoughts. But guess what? That's great. Now you can position yourself later in the interview. Here's another one. What management style do you work best under? Well, Joe, I find that I work best in kind of an independent environment, right? I really appreciate my manager supporting me, being there, and absolutely holding me to task. But I want to be able to have enough line to be able to do things without being, looked at every minute of the day. I mean, what type of management style do you have? Right? So here you are answering what works for you and immediately going right back in a non-threatening way, asking what type of management style they have. I mean, guess what? This person might be a micromanager and said, look, I actually do a lot of micromanagement. I'm trying to get better at it. But, I find that when I, delegate and, the first thing that goes wrong, I go right back to micromanaging. That's something that you need to put into your data banks when you're thinking about the opportunity. So what is the other key to interviewing? You must be the most prepared candidate. Companies need to know that you can come into this new role and be an immediate contributor. And one way for them to feel comfortable about this is to show them how you prepare for meetings. And this is a meeting. It's a big meeting. Many people focus on themselves when preparing for the interview. They go over practice questions and review their history so that they can talk about it in the best way possible. While this is important, there's definitely another step that is just as important, and that's showing them how prepared you are when you come to the interview. And it's learning more about the interviewer, right? Learning more about the company and learning more about the industry and how it affects that company. LinkedIn is a wonderful place to learn about interviewers. Where did they go to school? What organizations are they a part of? But very importantly, what is their career journey like, and what is it like with that specific company? How did they get to where they are now? Next, you want to learn about the company, right? Their mission, their products, their services, recent news. What is their funding like? What does their executive team look like? How do they differentiate themselves from their competitors? All of this is really important, and it shows that you're a student of preparation. Finally, the industry. Learn about industry trends and industry news and how that may affect their business. Preparing is everything in sports, and it is no different in job search. If you are clearly the most prepared candidate, it will separate you from the other candidates and essentially your competition. If not, other candidates are going to separate from you. Companies want to hire people who take the initiative and are readily prepared. Now, just because I gave you these interviewing gold nuggets doesn't mean that you have all the gold. As part of my services, I conduct mock interviews with my clients, and what they get out of the mock interview is amazing. This is by far one of my 2 or 3 most appreciated services that I provide. It's one thing to understand the strategies, it's another thing to implement the tactics. Again, if one part of the machine is broken, the whole machine can break down. So there you have it. We start with understanding that clarity is king in the job acquisition process. And now we have discussed some incredible secrets to making great professional marketing material, how best to network and uncover opportunities, and how to interview like a champion. Of course, there's so much more that goes into it. And as I shared with you earlier, I've developed a signature system for helping job seekers in all areas of the job acquisition process. So the way I see it, you have 2 options. You can go at this alone and try and implement all the things by yourself. It'll take hours, and I'm sure you'll make great improvements, but there is a chance that you'll take some missteps also. Oftentimes, people have great intentions when watching my training, and they feel like they can do it themselves, but unfortunately don't change enough because they aren't exactly sure what to do, and they don't have a coach helping them and keeping them accountable. The other option, here you have it, is to work with me to become the captain of your career, that captain of your job acquisition process. This way, you will have access to an expert who will personalize each step of your process, guide you along your journey, and make sure that you land your dream job. I will tell you, I have 2 ways to work with my clients. In a group setting called my inner circle, which is very affordable, and it's a way to tap into me and my system in an economical way. The second is a one-on-one, highly personalized setting where we essentially get attached at the hip until you land that next job. That is called my gold standard. I'm currently looking for a few more gold standard clients and always have room for clients in my inner circle. But I am looking for people committed to making the changes necessary to their job acquisition strategy so they can land that amazing job. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't work well with people who aren't ready to change or who aren't open to constructive criticism. I'm just keeping it real. So if you're interested, all I'm looking to do now is just offer you a free 15 to 20-minute discovery call with me. On this call, we'll dive into your personal situation. This call will give me a chance to learn about your career history, about your current job search, and ultimately about what you're looking for. You'll also get a chance to learn more about me. And if I think we're a good fit at the end of this free call, I will share with you the different ways that I work with my clients and the best way for us to work together to strengthen yourself as a candidate. No matter if we work together or not, I know you will get value from this discovery call, as I believe you did from this master class. Now, obviously, I'm just one man with the same amount of hours in the day as everyone else. So I have only a limited number of slots available for these calls. All you have to do is click the button below and you will go right to my scheduling page where you will be able to select a date and time that works best for you. But please try and stick to that time. Commitment is important. So if you'd like to be that captain of your career, right, and follow a proven system to landing your dream job, then set up the call. For those of you who are not going to schedule a call, I just want to say thank you for listening and staying with me. I know you've learned a lot, and I really hope this has been helpful. I would also love to have you message me on LinkedIn if you implemented any of the strategies that you learned today that were helpful. For those of you who I will be speaking with, I look forward to the opportunity to get to know you personally, and I'm excited about the prospect of working with you as a client to help you become the best job seeker you can be. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.